Had a fun little adventure earlier today. We've got a basement, and our basement right now is essentially our litter box. We've got 4 cats. Got a number, not small number of litter boxes down there. But I was going downstairs while the cats were eating their dinner to go clean their litter so that they use the litter boxes and not the floor. We've got, how many do we have? Four automated litter boxes. 2 that are the same, 2 that are different. So we got 3 different ones, but 4 in total, and then 1 manual litter box because one of the cats just feels like she doesn't want to use any of the automated litter boxes, even though 2 of them are very, very wide open. So I just gave up and put a manual litter box down there. Anyway, if I don't clean it like every day, they start using the floor. So I go downstairs to start cleaning the litter box, and we have 2 window wells that go into our basement, and the window wells they're covered with grates, but the grates have holes. So we have these window wells, and they're covered by grates, and things can fall in. And a lot of times, enemies. See, that's what I get from it's enemies. Small animals or creatures. We live on the back of a wildlife preserve, and so we get any nature of animals, from rabbits to ground squirrels to coyotes, snakes, pretty much a bunch of everything. And so I just happen to glance over and I see this ground squirrel, little baby ground squirrel, caught in the window well, just freaking out. Now this window well, I can only imagine being that creature and falling in there, because we don't always check in the basement. We should check in the basement every day, but we don't always get the chance to check every day. And because of that, it's essentially the great window well of death. In this window well, there's dead frogs, there's some dead probably some dead ground squirrels that we missed, unfortunately. But I happened to see this one, and it was a baby. And so what I did was, I want to save it. Even though they're kind of hazardous to our backyard, I just feel bad because, again, my favorite Disney characters are Chip and Dale, 2 chipmunks, and the ground squirrels are just as cute and look just like chipmunks. I'm like, all right, you hold on, little buddy. I'm gonna go find a box to put in, because I had to find a box that was tall enough so that once I put it in, it wouldn't be able to jump out and, kind of run around our house, especially with 4 cats who aren't, as much as they like to think they can kill things, and as fast as they are, because they are actually very, very quick, they're not outdoor cats in any capacity. And so it would just be a giant wreck seeing 4 cats running around with a ground squirrel in the house. I couldn't find any boxes. I just happened to, let's see, story here. So I was looking around in the basement. Again, we got tons of boxes, like tons of boxes. I keep tons of boxes. However, these are boxes that are filled with things, or smaller boxes that are products that I would keep to say sell. Really, you can't see me. I'm way over here. I didn't do anything. Oh, that's just lame. I'm gonna go hide out over here so I can finish my story. That was just rude. Hide back over here. And because today was garbage day, all of our empty boxes that I possibly could have used were out in the recycle bin. So I'm going around, and so one of the things I've done a great many things for our cats over the years, and one of the things that I did was I tried doing pine litter. And so this is going to be a sub-story that's segued that'll lead back around to the main story. But I tried doing pine litter. Now, if you've ever had cats, you've ever seen the pine pellets and pine litter are the exact opposite of regular cat litter. So regular cat litter, clumping cat litter, that is, regular clumping cat litter, anytime they poop, it's there. Maybe get some litter on it, but not really. But the clumping litter is there for the urine. It soaks it up, it becomes this solid piece, and then you just scoop it and you toss it out. Well, pine litter, what it does is the poop is still the same, where you just have to scoop the poop out. However, with the urine, what it does is when the cat pees, instead of clumping, it's the exact opposite. It completely breaks down the pine pellets into this really fine sawdust. And the best thing about it, and thinking about it right now makes me like want to switch back, is that when it breaks down into that fine sawdust, the smell of urine, and anybody who's had cats knows that the smell of cat urine is one of the most potent and pungent smells you could ever possibly imagine, and it doesn't go away. Well, when a cat urinates in these pine pellets and it turns into the sawdust, the urine smell, I'm not even joking, 100% vanishes. I've done it before where I filtered it out. I'll get to the filtering process in a second, but where I filtered it out and I had all of just that sawdust used pine litter, urinated sawdust pine pellets in a garbage bag. Not ashamed to admit, just because I couldn't smell the cat urine, put my head in the bag a little bit, did a nice big inhale, smelled nothing but pine. It is spectacular. Problem is, it is ridiculous to upkeep. I went out and I bought these big, getting back to the box for the ground squirrel, got these big kind of Rubbermaid containers that were like, maybe a foot and a half high and maybe 2 feet wide and, same foot and a half, across, that had lids on it, whatever. And what I did was I bought 2 of them. One, I ended up, so what I did was I cut a hole out of one of them, got this not so much fine, but small enough holes so that the pellets wouldn't go through it. And of course, now that it's nighttime, I'm freezing. So let's go back to that. Doesn't help. And then what else do I have that I can do that would help me? I guess the pants are all I've got. All right. So now we're waiting at nighttime. And still telling my story here. So the pine litter again. I got a special, not a special saw, but I got a saw because I didn't have one. A nice Ryobi, wireless, chargeable one, so I could cut a hole in the bottom of this Rubbermaid container. Get this kind of it's more like a plant fencing, for when you like build a garden and you want to keep the rodents out of your garden. It's one of those, but it was, each hole was maybe that big. It was smaller mesh fence. And I cut a piece out so that it laid flat and I was able to secure it in the bottom of this Rubbermaid container, because the idea is that you have to sift the sawdust. You have to sift the used sawdust and keep the pellets. And so I don't remember exactly I think I had 3 of them, but it was essentially I would, have one on top of the other one. I would dump it in, and then I would slowly shake it to sift it. And then the third one that had the sawdust, I would dump into the bag, and then I would, take the mesh one, put it off to the side, and then I'd have the third one that would then be the regular litter box with the pellets again that they could go in. The problem is that it was tall. I might have just done 2, and I think I had a regular sized litter box, and I would dump the litter box into that and then sift it. Anyway, it was a lot of work, a whole lot of work. So I stopped doing it at some point, went back to my automated litter boxes, but I just so happened to still have the one that was solid, that didn't have the hole in the bottom. I'm like, all right, cool. It's basically pine. Lots of cat urines come through this container at some point. But you know what? I'm going to save this ground squirrel's life. I'm sitting there talking to this ground squirrel. Get the container. It's got a lid, thankfully. It's, about 1.5 feet high. Take the lid off. Now, this thing's pretty big, and our window that goes into the window well is, I don't know, maybe 3.5 feet wide, but it is a horizontal sliding window that is only half width. So the half width, and it slides. So the opening is only maybe 2 feet across, right? And so with this, I've got this big Rubbermaid. I've got the window well on the outside that this ground squirrel is totally freaking out in. I've got my container. I've got it turned side. I was trying to think of the best way that, and it's just barely fit in through the opening, trying to get this ground squirrel to jump in, but also it's kind of like, being a hockey goalie, like protecting the net, because these things are fast. So he's running around, going every which way. And when he runs towards the open part of the window, that's when I start freaking out, because he gets in the house, it's game over. Game over, man. Game over. And so I would stop it down and try to scare him to get back in there while trying to not scare him, but also still talking to him like I talk to my cats, like, it's okay. You're going to be fine. Just jump in this thing. I promise we're not going to cook you. You're good to go. Going to set you free. You're going to be back with your mom real soon. After about 3, maybe 5 minutes of kind of going back and forth, I finally saw his pattern, similar to a video game, where he would go up onto the ledge, and instead of coming along the ledge, he would basically jump off the ledge and then go run and hide in the back. And then when I moved back over, he would come back and stand on the ledge and then jump off. So what I did was I had this thing sideways. I put him into the corner so he was on the part of the window well that was, inside the window well, and he couldn't get in the house. Put this container up against it right there, and that caused him to finally jump into this container. I then put it up like that, and then, so I've got the ground squirrel in the container, got it upright in the window well, window still open, the lid's out of reach. The lid's like a good 5 feet away. So I'm like, I really, 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 really hope that this container is tall enough so this ground squirrel can't jump out of it. And before I opened the window, because he was trying to get himself out, on his own, this kid's got hops. He was able to do a pretty good jump. So I very quickly, with the window, so I didn't close the window. Hindsight, I should have closed the window before I went to go get the lid. Left the window open, had the Rubbermaid container there, went over, grabbed the lid, came back, put the lid on. He was good. I've got the container. Before I went down with the container, I ended up unlocking the back door and getting it ready, so all I had to do was slide it open, slide the screen door, and then go out. So I went up, went into the kitchen to the back door, opened the door, opened the screen door, went out, popped it open, kind of put it on its side out in the grass, and he, kind of just scampered away. But before he went into one of his ground squirrely holes, he let out a couple of chirps, kind of like the end of Jurassic World Dominion, where, where Blue was just like, thank you, and then ran off. So felt good. That was my good deed of the day.